Now, my next guest unfortunately knows the issues there firsthand because she is living through it. These are the images that Jess Connard witnessed having lived 2 miles exactly from the chemical disaster. She relocated with her family to Youngstown, Ohio, due to health concerns after the derailment. This is a photo of the reoccurring rashes that she has had several times since the derailment. Shortly after the incident, she became an environmental advocate. She is part of a class action for property and personal injury. She joins me now, Jess Connard. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. 2 years later, on top of this report, residents, as we noted, are suing the CDC, alleging that the agency told healthcare providers not to treat them. What were your initial thoughts when you heard this?
Well, thank you first, Alicia, for having us on, and NewsNation for continuing to report on my community.
Yeah.
We know that it's not just our soil and our water that's contaminated, but it's the entire system that's meant to protect us. The CDC told us that there was nothing that they could do about our chemical exposures, and that's exactly what's happened, nothing. And in the same breath, they told us that our cancers would be treatable.
How has, the treatment been for you, in terms of the rashes, the things that you have faced, since this incident 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to what other residents and community members are experiencing. You'll go to the doctor and they don't attach it back to the derailment. They're not epidemiologists. They're not meant to do that. They're meant to treat our symptoms. So until we have a robust epidemiological response, we won't know, and we won't be able to report back, where our symptoms came from. But the CDC isn't the only agency that's on the hook, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have FEMA that's been ordered to provide an unmet needs assessment that would have provided additional medical resources. You've got our current Vice President, J.D. Vance, and in his capacity as the Ohio Senator, urged former President Biden to declare a public emergency. Why not now? And we know that the contamination is still present and ongoing. I'd be happy to talk more about that too.
We'll talk a little bit about what you want to see happen, what could happen, next, especially under this new administration, since there is concern what happened under the last administration.
Yeah, what I would like to see is these resources be pushed over the finish line. There is still EPA reported evidence of heavy sheen in the creek as of April of 2025. That was last month. There are academic studies that are coming out that show evidence of changes in the ecology of water upstream versus downstream of the accident. And not to mention, the court has yet to determine a finalized consent decree from the EPA Department of Justice versus Norfolk Southern case. And that also provides a plan to remediate the waterways as well as other community benefits, including medical.
I want to play for you, something from the last conversation you had here on NewsNation in June of last year. Take a listen.
But it is long past due for not just East Palestine, Ohio, Pennsylvania, but now 16 states. This is 1/3 of our United States population, and potentially in international areas such as Canada, that this has had an impact on. So people need to start paying attention, and we need that public health emergency immediately.
When you hear those words almost a year ago, what has changed since then? Has there been enough, progress?
Nothing has changed. No organized medical response, no changes in rail policy, no emergency disaster preparation, no training center. Nothing has changed. The resources that we were provided, we will likely be paying those back under the settlement terms. So nothing. Everything's the way that it was.
This is a story for a lot of people watching this right now, but this is real life for you. How do you deal with this on a day-to-day, the health concerns, not only for yourself, but for your family? I believe you have children?
Yes, I have 4 children, 3 living at home. I'm currently in Nashville, Tennessee for a baseball tournament. So life does move on. You have to move forward, and that looks different for everyone, but continuing to keep in the back of your mind every day that there are dangers present in our environment and doing what's best for you and your family. I chose to take an advocacy route like many others in my community, and some have chosen to ignore it. And both ways are okay, but we have to remember that this is not an isolated incident, that this could happen in your community.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.